Welcome. I didn't know we were doing the house lights on for the game show. This is amazing. My name's Fabela. Thank you for coming. If you were here last year, you saw this experiment, which was my favorite metric. It's something that Dale put on, and I actually enjoy. The metric side of this is amazing. We have lovely contestants, excellent judges. So with no further ado, let's introduce our judges. Kate, if we can bring up our celebrity judges, please. Everyone give them a round of applause. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Everyone have a seat. So our celebrity judges will be judging our contestants. Snarky, funny, cruel, I don't know. Will we all play personas or will we all be cruel to our contestants? What do you think, Maggie?
It works.
So Maggie, who you may know from multiple main stages and a lovely presentation this year as well, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I am Maggie Morganti. I'm the Product Security Research Manager at Rockwell Automation.
Awesome, thank you. And then Emma, please.
Hi, I'm Emma Sturr. I'm the Chief Power Grid Scientist at Idaho National Lab and deeply sarcastic, so this will be fun.
And then I must say about Kylie, she was probably one of the first people I saw with my skater shirt on way back. So like, it's a place in my heart. So Kylie, go ahead.
Had to actually wear like a black shirt today to not
We coordinated. We didn't want to clash.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I'm Kylie McClanahan. I'm the Director of Engineering for Bastazo.
Awesome. Thank you, judges. So the way this works, if you hadn't seen last year, we have 4 contestants. They have exactly 3 minutes to wow you with their favorite metric. As you may have remembered last year, I kind of felt that I took a different skew on the mission where I talked about my goats. So it could be serious, it could be quadratic equations and calculation of risk, or it could be, hey, I want to be this level of goat in the industry. So you're going to see quite a bit. We're going to bring them on one by one. They have 3 minutes. They're going to be buzzed at the end of that 3 minutes, and then we will judge them accordingly.
We will. Perfect.
Which could be fun. Now, if you didn't know, and maybe to entice you for next year, the winner does win a ticket to S4 25, which is no small amount of ticket. So keep that in consideration for next year. We'll get some more contestants, and apparently we're in Tampa, which I'm actually excited about. So Kate, if we can bring on our first contestant of the day, our first victim. Good, and we have your slides. Adam, please come on up. You're supposed to like cheer, yeah, like Price is Right. Very good, excellent. The crowd is yours because they take feedback and instruction really well. So Adam, what's your name? Where are you from?
So my name is Adam. I'm from California, Bay Area.
Bay Area. So you don't just work for Palo Alto, you live in Palo Alto. It's very good. So Adam, here is your clicker. That's your weapon. Here is your microphone. You have 3 minutes. Stage is yours.
Thank you. So morning, everyone. Today I'm talking about my favorite metrics, which is game theory. Would you please raise your hand if you know what the game theory is? Cool. So if you think game theory is about gamification or a video game, I hate to break your heart, it's not. I have presented this many times. People think it's a game, and I have broken so many people's heart. So game theory is actually opposite. It's a mathematical strategic analysis that help organizations making their best decisions. It's used a lot in economic, and today we are showing how we can use it in cybersecurity. So for all the heart I broke before, I'm here to fix it today. So we actually make it a real game. So I'm going to talk more about at the end. But the metrics that we use behind this game is based on how the organization maturity looks like and how you're going to implement it. So we start from threat intel. So the best thing you can do, look for threat actors information, map them to MITRE, group per TTPs, and after that, create a heat map and put them to game theory. So a lot of us come to conferences. We looked at lots of defense solutions. We have a lot of security solutions. And the best thing we can do is take our defense options we have, map them to the threats we have from these metric, and identify what would be the best option to defend against every threat. The idea is to avoid overspending and underspending. The goal is to find the optimum threats so you can identify the best strategic solution. Then, if you have a more maturity, then we recommend to use your internal threat metrics. You use your IDS, IPS, whatever threat metrics you have, map them to threat actors, and then after that you do the same process. You look to the threat actor, their TTPs and attack trees, and then again you group them by most common TTPs, medium common, and least common TTPs. Please keep in your mind, it doesn't mean it's least common that it's least threat or least risk. Sometimes least common means they are more sophisticated. That's why they are not very common. Then the last step is enhanced by using machine learning. There's a couple of ways that we can utilize machine learning to predict future threats based on previous threat we have seen, especially in your organization. So, as I mentioned, we do have this as a Grail game. We have a hardware, a software. So if anybody is up to the game, and if I hurt anyone break a heart, if I broke anybody's heart before, please come play the game, and we will fix this. Thank you.
All right. 3 minutes goes quick, huh? Yeah, everyone a round of applause for Adam. So any final thoughts? We kind of cut you off there, but game theory, heat mapping, anything you'd like to add?
Just please come play the game with us. We're looking forward to see you.
I like it. Thank you. Thank you. So no, you will stand and be judged now. Stand and be ready. So let's see. So we had, I think, a good choice of buzzwords. You had MITRE in there. You had game theory, heat map. I think it meshed pretty well together. I don't know, Maggie, would you like to start? What was your takeaway?
I'm going to give it a 7. It was pretty good.
7.
I appreciate the point about sometimes the less common are because they are more sophisticated. That is definitely something that rings true given the past year that I had. So yeah, I'll give it a 7. Given the ML enrichment, though, I'm interested to hear Miss McClanahan's score.
Right,
Yeah.
how does actual machine learning factor into versus the human analysis? So we'll go to Kylie. Let's see, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, no, I like it. I actually was going to comment on the novelty of game theory. You don't see that a whole lot in the OT space.
Right.
And do, of course, love the machine learning in enrichment piece. I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8. See, and you may be getting a little bump just from being our first victim. So, I mean, ride that wave. So, and Emma, I don't know. What do you think?
I think you missed a major opportunity to start with "Shall we play a game" or something at the beginning. Like, you could have had a movie reference. It could have worked. You could have launched with that one. But I really like the use of saying you can use the metrics that are in your industry and apply it using this framework, because I think creating new ones is not necessarily super easy right now. So I like that. So I'm going with 7.
7. So we have 7, 8, 7, right? Perfect. And I love game theory because it's such a well-established kind of concept outside of OT, so I'm glad to see it being brought into OT. It kind of has this Chewy angle, the deflector shield feel to it. I think that was my takeaway. I would go with the 7 as well. So it's a 7, 7, 7, 21. You're going to see me do math on stage, by the way. With an 8 is a 29, so good score, Adam. I mean, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see how you last there. Thank you very much. All right, thank you for applauding for Adam. Let's bring on our next contestant. All right. Come on stage, Joel. All right, Joel. Many of you know Joel, but what's your name and where are you from, sir?
Joel Angel from Northeast Wisconsin.
Northeast Wisconsin. You didn't even give us a town name. It was just like, nobody's going to know where I'm from, so it's just in the general area, right? That's right. So, all right, so Joel, your slides are up. You have 3 minutes on the clock. Good luck, sir.
All right, thanks. Let's hope that fellow Northeast Wisconsin game show guy Ben Chan's with me today. So before I begin, everybody that knows me knows I'm an engineer, and engineers like metrics, so mine's going to be kind of quantitative. But the first thing is a goal against a metric. And of course, that goal here, I believe, is that every one of you and your bosses thinks you got so much value out of this conference that they're going to send you back next year. And I'm sure that's how Dale has a good metric too, as to how well this goes. So let's build this out a little. So first of all, Imagine how much your company invested in you to be here. And I say 40 hours because you got to travel, you got to pack, everything else to attend S4. So let's take a simple little algorithm. Your salary divided by 52 because you're here for a week, and your expenses. So we have to show value as greater than what the company's invested in you being here. So we got to start. So how do we get to that number? First thing, how much did you learn at S4 that you're going to be able to take back to work and make you more valuable? Now, there's a flip side to that. Sometimes people become too valuable, and they're more valuable to another company. Now, we don't want that. We want your company to see that you come back a changed person. Better, able to do this job faster, quicker, and you learn so much because of the great knowledge that was shared at this event. So that's the first part of this metric. Next one is contacts. In this industry, contacts is probably the most important thing. So you should sit down at the end of this event and add up how many contacts you made. And we can break them down into friends that you're going to grow and excel in cyber together with. But more importantly, colleagues that can help you when you hit a wall, you hit an obstacle, whether it's budgeting or figuring out exactly what to do for a particular solution set. And finally, we can't leave out vendors. A relationship with vendors and suppliers is key to success here, because they're a part of this equation, as is integrators. So, very important aspect. And then finally, there's a couple other things. Going back to work, hopefully you learn skills here or knowledge that make you more efficient at what you do. Whether you're in cybersecurity directly, whether you're in industrial control, whether you're IT support and help, you should be able to do things better when you return. And then, most importantly, that while you were here, you collected enough swag to go back home and give some to your boss, but most importantly at this event, to your dog. Thank you very much. My dog's going to love the swag from this event.
Good job. Well, now you may get bonus points for your dog. What was your dog's name?
Zoe?
Zoe, very nice. So, and you had about 20 seconds, so we're just going to fill the time, but Zoe's awesome. And did you have any influence on Dale in getting the dog toy in there, or?
I wish.
No, it was a great addition.
But that's, I've never been to a oh, I forgot to, I got the, no, not anymore.
Not anymore. I didn't hear the buzzer though. So, but we're gonna go to our judges, and I think this one's tricky because if you don't gamify this metric correctly, then maybe you'll never get justification to come back to S4. So I know early in my career, I had to do that, where I would, not only to get approval, I'd have to put together a couple slides. I don't know, Maggie, did you ever have that experience? Yeah. So where did this kind of resonate with you then as a...
So I just want to start by saying, you know, I know, Joel, that you had retired a few years ago, and so you being a contestant on an illustrious game show now feels very right now in your retirement.
It does.
I'm gonna give this an 8 because
Wow.
the price of my friendships, right, are invaluable to me that I make at this conference, and so if my expenses just have to fall below what I feel like my friendships are worth, I really could go back and do some things differently next year if that's all I have to put at the top of my expense report.
Well, and to add to that, you know, having dinner with Maggie in the expense report is not how I would put it. I would say, oh, I'm having a partner meeting with Rockwell, right? And so it's all about presentation. So an 8, very nice. Emma, I don't know, what do you think?
This dog is currently staring at me and is giving me this guilt look that I don't know what else to do other than go with an 8 also, because like,
Do you feel like you're holding a piece of chicken
he's
right
looking
now?
at my soul and telling me I have to vote higher for Joel. So no, I do appreciate the metric of who you meet and who you talk with. I think that's an excellent way to talk about how we work at this conference. It's definitely got a lot of social activities as well. I thought maybe including how many brain cells we lose during the evening may also be an option. But no, I'm going with an 8 also because the dog
Another
is staring
8.
at me.
Things are trending upward. I don't know, can we be the sticklers then? Can we be
Yeah,
like, I don't know, Joel.
I know, I feel like I have to.
Weren't you retired?
So,
Yeah, what
I
happened?
do very much like it. I appreciate the effort that went into quantification. My only beef with any of it was that I would have a very difficult time putting in financial terms the value of my connections and friendships from S4.
Because the real value were the friends we made along the way.
It's the friends we made
Yeah,
along the way.
That was the real treasure.
And so I think I'm going to have to go with a 6, but not without a lot of praise for the rest of the metric.
Wrong.
Wow.
They have
Ooh,
a price on all of
robbed,
you,
yeah.
so.
So an 8, an 8, and a 6.
Yeah, what's mine?
You know, this one struck me because, again, I was maybe a little over analytical early in that first S4 I got to go to. I had to overly justify it, so there's a place in my heart for this. So I'll give it a 7. I'll try to balance it out because it is important that you're able to quantify your qualified experiences here. So get used to that. That's how we get paid. So if you're an analyst or a consultant or a vendor, it's all about how do you quantify things. So everyone, a round of applause for Joel. All right, let's bring up Matt. Go ahead, Matt, come on up. Don't be shy. Although this dog is still staring at us, so we'll move on from, yeah, come on up. So Matt, or what's your name, where are you from?
Hi, I'm Matt Tompkins. I'm the head of intelligence at FERC.
Oh, very good. All right, so 3 minutes are on the clock. Here's your clicker, sir.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
All right, you can tell Ron had some voice in these because we went from goats to dogs to now a bear. I imagine some of you are probably familiar with this parable about 2 hikers running in the forest from a bear, and the first hiker turns to the other and says, "We're never going to outrun this hungry bear." And the second one turns back and says, "I don't have to outrun the bear, I only need to outrun you." And that provides kind of the inspiration for my favorite metric. And the first thing that I'll admit is my favorite metric isn't actually technically a metric. It's more of a concept masquerading as a metric, but it's got a formula, so it wears itself well. So the metric, I call it comparative marginal cybersecurity. The first premise really comes from where I live in threat intelligence, which is that all adversaries are opportunistic in some way. So what I mean by that is every adversary, from your most motivated nation-state actor to your laziest script kiddie, at some point has to be opportunistic in what they're doing. Those state actors that are wanting to perpetrate a SolarWinds-type campaign, even the SolarWinds compromise, of all the hundreds of compromised victims, only about 40 were targeted for exploit. So they had their targets identified, and they looked for wherever they could find their opportunity. On the script kiddies, it's easy to see how they're opportunistic. It's the lazy actors that you can see that they just figure out, oh, I've got this exploit for Unitronics devices with a default password. Let me see who has one, and they shotgun blast everyone they can. The second premise is that cybersecurity is marginal rather than binary. So every little bit of cybersecurity adds friction and adds a challenge for those opportunistic adversaries. And the conclusion then is that with every little bit of friction, as you make it more difficult for the adversary, you're making it more likely the adversary will just give up on you as a target and turn to someone else. So just like the hikers outrunning the bear, you don't have to have cybersecurity that can outdo your most motivated adversary. You just have to beat your unfortunate peer who ends up being the victim. Now I'm talking about the victims in a metaphorical sense. I'm not talking about actually looking at the person that you hope gets compromised instead of your organization, although it can be that if you want to kind of benchmark it that way. But the harder and harder you make it for an adversary to target your organization, the more likely they give up. And as you add those friction points, even minor cybersecurity measures, kind of the latest round of phishing training or closing that port, adds some value and some friction that makes it that much more likely that the adversary gets somebody else instead of you.
All right,
and that's it.
Thank you. So the concept of the bear. Now, I don't know, judges. This one's tough for me because although it is animal-based, and I did mine on goats last year, I don't know, let's start with Kylie. What are your thoughts on someone's going to be eaten, let's just make sure it's not me?
Well, as someone with chronic asthma, I do have to take issue a little bit with outrunning the bear because I will be the one eaten in every case. No, I do absolutely see the premise of it is sound. Do I agree with the way that makes us look at our fellow industry people? It's a little, I'm going to give it a 7.
7, okay.
Premises
that
sound,
was a tentative
implications
7,
are a little.
Looks like a low 7, a 6.8, or okay, 7. All right, Emma.
I'm gonna say I don't love the idea of throwing the weak ones to the wolves because we were able to do a little bit more on security. I would have framed it slightly differently on that I do think that cyber could go more towards being a chronic condition and less than a complete unsurvivable opportunity. So I'd present it differently from that perspective. So I'm going with a 5, but mostly because of the first part of don't throw them to the wolves.
A 5. All right. Well, let's. Can we recover this, Maggie? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with Emma on the. I don't love the idea of throwing the weak ones to the wolves. You did step in it. I'm an avid backpacker, so I do love bears. I could sit up here for another hour. And so I do think that you could probably tweak this metric a little bit, right? Because bears don't actually hunt people. We get bear attacks because bears learn to associate people with being fed. And the way that you fix that is you keep a clean campsite. And so I think that the different metric could be that if across the board, we all do better at the basics, and hackers, or particularly ransomware folks, right, get used to, there's really not a lot of juice for this squeeze. I'm consistently getting in, but they have backups and I'm not getting paid. I think that would in my humble view, probably be a better bear metric, versus ICS metrics that we could have for next year.
Can we rank who's most likely to get eaten by a bear on stage?
I do feel the vulnerability here because I too would not be very fast. Although I am in sport mode,
You would beat I and Emma.
I would throw the croc.
We can stab it with our heels.
And then
stab it with our heels.
Hopefully outrun Kylie, although I am asthmatic as well. So
and did take my inhaler this morning.
A wheezing snack. So what's your score?
I'm gonna go with 6.
6.
I think it could be improved.
Well, I'm sorry, Matt. I came to the same conclusion. You know what? I think there's some great takeaways, though, that we can have, which is not necessarily, because I think my initial thought is, now we're trying to assess the viability of the security of our peers. In order to make this work, I have to know whether, now from a social engineering stance, I know now Kylie is asthmatic, so maybe that helps me.
Never going hiking with you.
But I would have to know that information, I think, for this metric to work. So I'm going to give a 4. So, sorry, it's good and it's bear-based, so that's cool. But everyone, a round of applause for Matt, please. All right, I'm going to take a look at time. Oh, we're doing great. All right, let's bring on our last contestants. Please, round of applause. So now when I got the submission, I just got to say it's one of the best handles in the world. So Unix Queen, AKA?
Claire C. from the UK. I'm from NCSC.
Very good. So everyone, you are our final contestant, so no pressure, but you got it. You know, as you heard, Matt kind of got mauled in the last one. So good luck. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead. Oh, and you have no clicker. That's right. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm going to call this my cheeseburger metric because it doesn't represent NCSC. This is completely my cheeseburger metric. So I'm going to tell you a story. Last night, so I should say yesterday afternoon in the Cabana sessions, I met Andrew. And I said I would review his book. So last night I went for a cheeseburger, as we do in the US, and I came across a question: how much is enough? How much is enough? In cybersecurity, how much is enough? And I went back 25 years when we did Y2K. In that year, I think I patched about 45 servers. And why did I do that? Because they were critical. They were critical systems, critical assets, and I had to close those vulnerabilities. So I'm going to apply that to today. If somebody comes to me and asks me how much is enough, I'm going to ask the questions. What systems do you think are critical? What assets in those systems are critical? What vulnerabilities do we need to close in those assets? And then I'm going to calculate the cost of closing each of those vulnerabilities in those assets, in those systems. And that is the value of my matrix, HMIE. How much is enough. We pronounce it HME. So, Andrew, if you're in the audience, I'm going to review the rest of your book. But I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to present here on stage. Thank you.
I mean, we do have a minute. So HME, how much, so you were able to actually execute on this. What were your findings? Were there any systems that fell below the line that were near and dear to your heart and difficult to quantify?
No. So this is a cheeseburger metric from yesterday. So
Oh, I love it.
It's not been tested.
Oh, well, you have, hopefully you don't have many opportunities to test it this year. So how much is enough? I've heard that theme kind of throughout the conference, which is a perhaps sobering realization that we can't do everything all the time, all at once. So kind of a metric, not a metric, a feeling. What do you think, Meg?
I think that this is a metric that we are, whether we call it directly HME, right? This is a metric that we are all already using to some extent and asking ourselves for various areas in cybersecurity in our businesses. So I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's pretty spot on.
Very good. All right, Emma.
Can I go with the 7? I'm trying to work out just now how we would actually calculate it as well, because I'm not sure we have an answer to that. It's a good metric. How we get to that metric, I'm not sure at the moment, because it's not clear we're getting there at the moment on knowing how much is enough. It seems to be ever escalating. So it's a good metric. I'm just not sure how we calculate it, but we'll go with 7.
So 7, okay. Kylie?
So my first thought is an 8, because right, or at least I hear a lot about putting it in financial terms that perhaps the board will understand when they're not cybersecurity professionals. However, I think I have to give a bonus point for calling it HME, thinking forward to the potential confusion between HMI and preventing a conflict of acronyms, in which we already have too many. So I think I'm going to have to go with a 9.
Wow, I like it. So I think you're winning hearts and minds here. I do think, and because it is something that's been so prevalent in the conference, is, again, maybe sobering. And if you're new to the conference, maybe this isn't hitting you the same way, but that there is this calculus that has to be quantified, but it comes from a root of a qualification of what's most important, what's critical. I'm going to give it an 8 as well, which if I'm doing quick and dirty math, I think that makes Unix Queen our winner of my favorite metric. So please, round of applause. Thank you so much. We'll arm wrestle Dale for details and a ticket to Tampa S425. But thank you so much, and please, I encourage you to meet with our contestants, meet with our judges, and have a great rest of your S4. So thank you so much. All right, thank you.